Hello, hello.
Hi, everyone.
We're back. Welcome to a new episode of The Missing
Component.
Component. This is Peanut the Wicked, your
And
homie.
and this is Nale. ¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo han estado? Ya been missed.
Always, always. So, yes, welcome to a new episode. As always, we appreciate all the love. We ask that you continue to like and subscribe and comment and share with your friends. Tell everyone about us.
Yeah, it's very, very important for you guys to continue to show love or not. But
También?
it's important, girl. At the end of the day, it's important.
Yeah.
It's fucking important.
Yeah. But overall, bottom line though is that
Bottom.
me and Nelly are having fun doing this.
Bottom.
We really are. Anyway, today's topic is the culture shock of being an American-born Mexican. We wanted to have a little fun and deep dive into our culture a little bit, telling you guys about basically, the culture shock of being a Chicano.
He considers himself a Chicano. I don't consider
And
myself a Chicano.
an American-born Mexican. I consider myself Mexican. I consider myself Chicano. I consider myself indigenous. I consider myself brown. I consider myself to be the Wicked Witch of all. Anyway,
Oh,
so yeah.
something, all right.
So anyway, yeah. Let's get right into it with this episode.
So yeah, so we're gonna. I feel like we have to like make it a little more fun and not too
Always. Not always serious.
not too serious. I feel like the past few like episodes been a little more about
On the serious
awareness,
side.
you know.
On the serious side, yeah.
Yeah,
We're having
so you know, we need to know. We want to like let you guys know where we're from and you know why este tiene la cara de nopal y yo no la tengo. Yo estoy un poquito más güero. Este está bien quemado. Why he lacks height and I don't like height. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, Mexicans come in different shapes, colors, and sizes.
Definitely different sizes.
I'll get the size because size could be height, girl. At least you didn't say shape, girl.
Anyway, let's get right into it.
No, but yeah. So as you know, we are both Mexican American. You were born in New York or New Jersey?
I was born in New Jersey.
I was
born in New Jersey.
Yeah, sure. Jersey. I'm excited.
I was born in Jersey City. For anybody who obviously is old enough, in the old Jersey City Medical Center that is now closed, but they opened up a new one.
Why they closed
under
it?
the same name? I don't know.
Do you know? Because you know what's crazy?
What's crazy, Nelly?
The hospital that I was born in, Brooklyn, it was also closed.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, did a lot of hospitals back in the day when we were born like closed? Like, what the hell they were doing or not doing that they all closed?
Yeah.
But you were born in Jersey, in that old, not existing, but now a new place existing hospital.
Yeah.
And I was born in Brooklyn. I was born. It used to be called Saint Mary. Don't be mad that you haven't heard of a famous person coming out of Jersey. But anyway, a legendary famous person, I should say. But no, I was
actually one of the members from Wu-Tang is from Jersey City, but we'll get into Newark. I forgot. Anyway, continue.
Bitch, you said Jersey City.
Anyway, continue.
So I was born in Brooklyn in St. Mary's Hospital, which is no longer there. They closed down in like 2001, I believe, or like 2004, something like that. But the hospital that I was born is no longer existing. I kind of like did a little investigation. I wouldn't know why. Some people say because it was always like very chaotic, and it was legendary for being just not up to part when it came to like sanitation. And but also some other people said that, I don't know, the internet say a lot of things, but who knows?
Who knows? Let's
Who
get to
knows?
it. Let's get to it.
So you were born here and you were raised
So
in.
yes, I was born in Jersey again and raised mostly in Staten Island. I did live a few years in Newark, New Jersey, a couple of years too. But for the most part, growing up, it was Staten Island. For me, I consider both Staten Island and New York City and Jersey are my homes for me.
I mean, that is the tri. They do consider that the tri-state area, like including Connecticut. Connecticut, Jersey and New York tend to be like the tri-state area, even though New Yorkers don't want to
Yeah,
approve of New Jersey and Connecticut.
or Staten Island.
I mean, we have to, because at the end of the day, it is
Technically one of the five boroughs,
exactly
but the other
not
five,
technically. It
but the other
is.
four
It
boroughs
is.
hate Staten Islanders.
Girl, it's just like y'all so far. Like I was born and raised in Brooklyn, right? But now I reside in the Bronx, and it takes me 2 fucking hours to get to him, and we film at his place. So it be too much, girl. It really be too much, and like the people in Staten Island be doing too much, like
Oh, because the
too
Bronx is
damn
so
much.
calm.
Well, I live in a okay area, like and at the end of the day, I say a city is a city, so
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's dangerous and ratchet anywhere you go.
Yeah.
But my house is not ratchet, so.
Anyways, so let's get into this culture shock of being a Mexican American. Let's get right to it.
How old were you when you first went to Mexico?
When I first went to Mexico, I was. How old are you in the sixth, seventh grade? That was my first time going to Mexico.
So you were like,
Oh no, I lie. That was the first time that I remember going to Mexico. Like I actually have vivid memories. The first time I went to Mexico with my parents, I was still
an infant?
a child or an infant. I was definitely really young. I don't remember at all how old I was. But when I talk about it with my parents, they do talk about that.
So you were
And
under 4 years old, right?
maybe four, and
Okay.
and then my brother was a baby. My brother was a baby still. He was a baby. That I do remember. And actually, I do have one core memory when I went the first time when I was like five or whatever it is. I remember my great grandmother. I remember her. I remember her voice. I remember her face. I do remember her. That's a core memory. I do remember her. I remember her because it was my grandfather's mother. So my grandfather's mother.
You know what's crazy? I vaguely remember my great grandmother. I do remember certain things, but I I vaguely remember her voice. I do remember her face. She looked like Mama Coco, but very skinny. She used to like wear her like rebozo, and like it
Yeah.
was just I don't know.
So cute.
It was very very cute. But actually, I was born in Brooklyn. I was sent to Mexico when I was 6 months, and then I came back when I was about like 5, I believe.
Oh wow. Uh-huh.
So I was basically kind of like raised in Mexico for a little bit, and then my parents will send me to Mexico every month for like 3 or 4 years straight, from like I think it was 11, 12. I think it was 11 or 12, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Up to I was like 13, maybe 14 years old. Um, so I was in like the first 4 years of my life. I wasn't really raised with my parents. I was raised with my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma used to raise all the all the nietos.
Yeah.
From my dad's side of the family. But I vaguely remember certain parts of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember the first time coming to New York though, when I was like around 4 or 5. Um, I came around January or February. I remember because it was snowing, and it was the first time me like getting to see snow. And I remember me coming out of the car and touching snow and feeling snow because it was snowing outside.
Oh my god.
Um, I used to always carry like remember that white bat from Anastasia, the movie Anastasia.
I remember the movie.
There's a white bat in like in the movie. You remember the guy with the big beard? He was like the warlock that tried to destroy the Russian Empire, and there was like a little white bat.
God, I don't remember that.
Anyways, I used to always carry that fucking white bat anywhere I go,
That's
and
cute.
that used to be like my to go do around that time. But for me, it was such a big culture shock because coming from a small town where it was always warm, kids would be playing in the dirt, in like with a fucking ball, or there was like culture, out there. And then coming here to New York where it was just old buildings, everything was like concrete, touching snow for the first time, not being allowed to go outside. This was like 96 or 97, I believe. And not being allowed to go outside because it was dangerous
Oh
back
my
in like
god.
the late
Yeah. And in
90s.
Brooklyn, yeah.
Um so
So
yeah.
before you go on, what part of Mexico is your family from?
My parents are from Puebla, the state of Puebla, from el municipio de Chietla, which is a small town called Atencingo.
Mm.
Atencingo is very known in Puebla
Hmm.
because it has Ingenio, and Atencingo and the surrounding areas. They're really big in agriculture of like sugarcane and other like produce,
Hmm.
mostly sugarcane. And Atencingo, where the town where my parents are from,
Hmm.
they produce like sugar, syrup, and stuff like that because they have like a big
Oh wow.
ingenio. You
So
know.
my family is from the state of Oaxaca. The city or town, the municipio where it's from is called Zapoticlan Lagunas. You know what is so funny? In Staten Island, the majority of the Mexicans are from Oaxaca. There are a couple of other Mexicans that I have known growing up that were either from Puebla or from the city. But in Staten Island, the majority of Mexicans, their heritage is back in Oaxaca. And then the rest of New York City, the majority of you, like you, are from Puebla or Mexico City in the other boroughs, except for Staten Island. It's so funny. So everybody left Oaxaca, Zapoticlan Lagunas, only to find each other again aquí in Staten Island.
Was it always like that even when you were younger?
I don't know, I think.
For me, coming to New York in the 90s, I vaguely remember like there like the area because I was born and raised in Bushwick, like the Bushwick Bed-Stuy area. So I remember that there used to be a lot of like Puerto Ricans and like Dominicans. So I feel like that's where I was influenced when I was older. But like I don't remember there was a lot of
Oaxaqueños.
Oaxaqueños
Yeah, you would call them
like in
Oaxaqueños,
like
or like where
Brooklyn.
my family's from, Zapotecos.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's so when I first when so the like the actual memories when I went to Mexico, like my first time where I can remember when I was in the sixth grade or seventh grade, whatever it was. Um, I do remember how like it was so much more busier, and it was a shock to see people who looked like my family everywhere. And then the first, so driving, and anybody who's from Oaxaca or Zapoticlan knows this. So if I recall correctly, the drive from Mexico City, El Aeropuerto, to Zapoticlan is a 6 hour drive. And
Damn,
we did
bro.
that. My family did that. My family picked us up, and we drove the 6 hours straight. And I think I fell asleep because I don't remember the drive per se,
That's a whole
but I do
flight.
yeah, but I do remember when right before we entered the town, we had made a stop right outside Zapoticlan, which was super dangerous. I don't remember why. I don't remember why. That was fucking dangerous. I'm so happy nothing happened to us. But I remember coming out of the car and looking up at the sky, and you could see the stars. It was amazing to see all the stars because like where my family was from back then, like there were still no street lights. There wasn't even concrete roads. Everything was dirt roads where my family was from a couple of years ago. That was more than a couple of years ago. But I remember looking up and looking at the stars, and I remember thinking, wow, like it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Is it
And then
dry? Like where your family's
so
from is
yeah,
like
my
more
fam
dry?
where they are from, it is very dry, but and I think we spent like 3 weeks out there, so we were doing everything. And I remember they took us. I don't remember the name of this place, but según what they say is that ahí es donde nace el agua. So we went there, and yeah, like you can see the water like coming out of the ground. Like it would rise up out of the ground,
And
and then it would stay.
it bubbles
It
up
definitely didn't
like
bubble, but it was coming out of the ground, and I think it would be a lake for a short time, and then the lake would go away, and then it would come every year or something like that. And
oh.
what I do also vaguely remember, other than like the stars, is I remember the smells in Mexico. The smell of manure, the smell of
Oh.
cow, the smell of horse, the smell of pigs. I remember the smells. So that was a shock to smell animals everywhere we went and bugs all over the place. What was a different shock also was,
I hate the
obviously
bugs.
I was only in the sixth, seventh grade, so there were things that I obviously don't know. But one of the other big things that are a core memory for me was there were no laundry machines. So my parents had to like hand wash our clothing and then
Mm-hmm,
hang dry it
mm-hmm.
because there were no machines over there.
You know what's crazy? Because a lot of you know people from like people who are not from America usually think that the clothes from America is better than the clothes from our actual. I'm speaking broad because I've always asked this question, but like people from their actual country is like less better. But
Mm-hmm.
like, because you were talking about like hand washing, I remember the first time I went to Mexico and they hand washed one of my shirts. It ripped because que lo tallan en el lavadero de piedra, que lo
Yeah.
tallan, so it ripped, and then like my grandma would be like, "It's an American shirt. It shouldn't have not ripped."
Yeah, yeah. They think
It-
like the clothing out here is better.
yeah, so it's just like
That's so funny.
it's I miss those. I do miss that part of Mexico, but
Mm. And then like for like my father's side of the family, the majority of my father's side of the family is over there, including his parents, my grandparents, and it's been a few years that they passed, but I remember their voices so so distinctly. I remember their faces. I remember like their hugs. Yeah.
oh, that's sad. Stop. um so for me, like my town is like in the middle of the road. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
one main road because you were talking about like the 6 hour drive
Mm-hmm.
from Mexico City to where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
I think our drive is about like 2 maybe 3 hours from Mexico City
That's so
to
short.
yeah, it's shorter than you. But the town where I'm from,
Mm-hmm.
there's a main road that leads from like Mexico City all the way down south. And I remember that we lived by that main road, but like you said, that was the only concrete road there. Most of the other roads were either dirt or they were like made out of stone. There wasn't like really like cemented areas. I think
Mm-hmm.
now that I see videos and my cousins have gone recently, like they talk about how it has gotten better. Like there's more
Yeah.
cemented roads,
Mm-hmm.
there's more light, there's like you don't see as much poverty as you used to. Like
Mm-hmm.
people are actually the people that live in that town that came to America, they the good thing about being an immigrant is that and coming from those poor communities, they come here, they work, and they send money over to help construct the town and to make it better.
Yeah.
So I think like um because of that, and because people from Atencingo started coming in the 90s.
That's something
Um,
like I was saying too. Like when I went, the entire town was dirt roads. There were no cemented roads. There were no street lights. Um, I think all of that came about a decade ago. I could be a little bit wrong, but a decade ago is late as fuck. That we're in
Mm-hmm.
what, 2025? Like a decade ago was like 2015, 2014 or some shit. Like I think maybe I could be a little bit wrong. Um, but now like when I see, I have friends online who are from there and they'll take pictures of the town and it looks the same, but it doesn't look the same because there are now cemented roads, and that's not what I saw when I went out
Mm-hmm.
there. Um, yeah, so yeah, it's crazy.
Do you? So you said that it's dry, but there you have water that
I don't know where we went or how close it was to
mhm.
my family's town, but we went somewhere where it was like I don't know, a forest. Yeah, like there were trees, it was green, there were animals, there were bodies of water, like yeah, like I don't know what that place is called. I don't know. I don't remember at all the drive. I do remember just though seeing the green. I remember seeing the water, being in the water, seeing the tadpoles. I remember seeing armadillos. Um, yeah,
Cause you were speaking about how like the water you could see the water like growing from like coming out from under the
Nace el
ground.
agua ahí.
Um, in my town, which is Coatencingo, which is a Mixteco word for la orilla del río.
Mm,
Um, there is a few locations around the town, not in the town, but around
mm-hmm.
the exterior that like water nace también. But the way the water comes out, it just like it doesn't shoot up. It like bubbles up, and then it's like when you turn on like how would I explain this? It's just like it bubbles up and then it
Yeah,
expands and it turns into like a pond and then it turns into a river and then it goes through the town or whatever. And that's like all year round.
yeah,
Um, and I think that I do miss that part because now that you speak about the tadpoles and everything, like I miss like being a kid and running around and just like um jumping into the water and stuff like that, which
yeah.
is one of the best feelings
It's such a
ever.
different. It really is a different world out
Seeing the
there.
stars. I think
Yeah.
that's why now as an adult, every time I'm outside, even though we're polluted by light, like I always look up and I'm just like, oh,
Yeah,
where
that's
are all
something
the
that just will never leave
stars?
my memory is the
Yeah.
seeing the stars and the
Yeah.
smells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got?
So, so you said you were around 11 when you went to Mexico.
However you are when you're
Um,
sixth, seventh grade. Yeah, I guess
so
11.
we were around the same age when we went to
I
Mexico.
guess.
Um, it's crazy.
I
I know. It's
know.
very similar. That's crazy. Um, what does it mean to be a Mexican American nowadays?
um, for me personally, the way it feels is exactly how everybody has seen Selena. That one scene where her dad is saying
Ah,
no, where
when
yeah,
they're in
the
the
dad,
van, they're in
yeah,
the
where the dad, excuse me, it
car.
was my question,
This bitch.
where the dad was saying to Selena, like, it's hard to be Mexican American because you got to prove to the American that you're more American. You got to prove to the Mexican that you're more Mexican. Really, both at the same time. And yes, it really is exhausting. But I truly am proud to be Mexican American. I'm proud to be Chicano. I'm proud to be brown skin. I'm proud to be indigenous to this continent because, in all honesty, Mexicans are native to this continent, indigenous to this continent. I think I said it before about something I saw online is that the ones that we see as the Native Americans and the Mexicans, we really are different tribes of the same people, which is why we look so alike. And growing up, I always saw them as my cousins, the Native Americans, the ones that America painted as Native Americans, the Indians. They really are us, and we are them because we are from this continent. It's just that just before before the Spaniards came, we were able to
The
migrate.
colonizers, we should
We were,
say.
excuse me, we were able to migrate throughout the entire continent.
This
So that is
bitch.
why this continent has always been ours. No one is illegal on stolen land. Let that be very clear. But yeah, for me, I truly am proud. I really am proud. I love both cultures, even though there's negative on both sides. Um, but I will always still be Mexican first. That's why I say I am Mexican American, because when you look at me, you don't. People picture an American, they picture white, European, respectfully. They don't see that with me, which is why I will always say that I am Mexican first. I am Mexican American because the first thing you see when you look at me is my brown skin.
I think it's just the brainwashing of like the colonization of like the European descent coming into this continent,
Mm-hmm.
because the reality is, if you know Aztec history, you know Aztec and Mayan history, like they actually came from up north, following they prayed to the gods to ask for a sign, and the sign was, that's why the Mexican has the eagle and the serpent on top of a cactus. That was supposed to be the sign that the gods gave them. So they came up from up north and they traveled all the way down south, which is considered now Mexico City slash, all the southern states. But they stopped in Mexico City. So it's just like, just knowing that little bit of history tells you
Mm-hmm.
that we do come from this side of the continent.
Mm-hmm.
So I do agree with you with the whole situation of like, you know, being native. Um, like me, I'm more lighter skinned because of my mom. My mom is really, she's more in the lighter complexion. She got freckles on her face, and she got freckles on her shoulders. Um, she doesn't look like the typical native woman. But what does a native woman look like nowadays? Because because of colonization and the mixes of races, like native people come in different colors. You
The you know
know,
the reason why we also are coming in, we come in different colors also, is because with colonization came rape. They raped into our culture, and that is why, for example, people come out looking lighter skin, because in indigenous indigeno is brown skin,
indígena.
dark features, like me, like you, um, but the rape of our people is in our looks, and it's in our names. For
Um,
example, both my last names from both my parents, they're not Spanish last names. They're not Mexican last names. My dad's last name is an Irish last name. My mother's last name, my mother's maiden name, is an Italian. So there goes your more evidence of they they married slash raped into our people, and that is why there are Mexicans who look European, who might be fair skin, who might have green eyes, blonde hair. And then back to my great grandmother, I remember her, but something my father always tells me is that she had green eyes. She had green eyes, and I'm so upset that I didn't get those green eyes from my great
thank
grandma.
God.
From my great grandma. I do have a cousin with green eyes on my mother's side though. Um, but yeah, yeah. What
I
else? What
I
else? What
think
else?
I think that it's I'm the same way. Like my both of the last names. Like my mom's side is more of the Italian side. That's why she's very fair skinned and like she got freckles. And then like her dad has lighter eyes. My great grandma also had like lighter eyes as well. And then like my dad's side, they look very indigenous, but they still have like a Spaniard last name.
Mm,
So it just tells you
the colonization.
the
The
colonization between the
colonization hit.
Italians and the Spaniards in Mexico. It's kind of like the same as like the colonization here of native people in America. The beautiful thing of American, I feel like the colonization of Native Americans, that some groups of native people stood together and they still have the native last name, but
There they
it's
have
is
their.
very small. There's a very small amount, because most of them were like killed off, and in Mexico, especially in the southern part where he's from, there's bigger towns where they're mostly indigenous,
Mm,
but they have lost that last name, the indigenous last name. They
Yeah,
kept
but there's
that,
still
you
some
know.
like some of those. Some might have still like the indigenous languages, indigenous beliefs, things like that.
Yeah.
What else?
Um. Yeah, you said that you've been to Mexico before. How many times have you been to Mexico?
Mm, 4 or 5.
Same.
4 or 5. So, one of the I don't remember. I think this was the last time that I went to Mexico. That's right. Yeah, I
Puerto
think so. So,
PD.
the last time I went was Puerto Vallarta, and I've been telling Nelly I want us to take a trip down there. It is beautiful down there. Puerto Vallarta is super Mexican. It's super gay, but it's super like when I say super Mexican, I mean like it's not touristy. Like you see the locals in their stores walking around buying their daily groceries. They're going to work. They're taking the kids to school. Like it's still very. It still gives you the hometown feel of a small Mexican town. Little touristy, but very little.
I think that's what scares me is that the sad part is that we already know that Mexicans are not really, uh they're not really they're not wanted in this country. But when Americans go down there, they literally tore up the towns. Like Veracruz used to be what Cancun is now, and now Veracruz is completely dead. There's barely any tourist area. They killed the land basically. Back in like the 70s and 80s,
Mm-hmm.
Veracruz was, a big hotspot to go to, and now it's happening to Cancun. And my terror is like, kind of like my scare is to like put out all these other beaches and towns that are like beautiful. They have such beauty in them that I'm more scared that other countries will like find out about those towns and just like kill off the town and like, just like, you know, um
Yeah, it's definitely like happened. I think recently in Puerto Vallarta, like the white American would come and complain about like the music or things, but you're not home. You cannot complain about the music. You cannot complain about what's going on. Like you cannot.
you know
You
what
cannot. And Puerto Vallarta, the people in Puerto Vallarta did the right thing. They played the music louder. They
you
drove them away.
you know what's crazy now, what's happening recently, like how if you have I'm trying to get my dual citizenship because Americans with passports are being denied to go to Mexico now,
Yeah, now,
and
yeah.
you have to have a visa to go to Mexico just because
Mm-hmm.
of what the Trump era and situation is going on.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't want to get into that right
Yeah, yeah,
now.
yeah.
Um, what's the core memory? What's one memory that you have when you went to Mexico or arriving to Mexico? Like that's one thing that you're just like, this is what I know, and this is what I.
Um Core memories, like I mentioned already, being able to see the stars, smelling the animals, remembering remembering the animals, remembering the different taste in the foods, even though here at home in America I eat Mexican food, tacos and whatnot. But the tacos out there taste so much different. They do taste better. The way they're made, the even like the customer service when you go to like the restaurants is different. It's all it it I don't know, it's a different feel, I guess, because I'm also Mexican. Like even though I am an American born Mexican, like being in Mexico, it feels weirdly like your home, but it's not your home. But it is your home.
It's
It feels it yeah, like that's my core memory is that every time the few times that I've gone to Mexico, I feel like I'm at home, but I feel like like say for example, when you're over a neighbor's house, you want to be as respectful as possible. And that's how I feel when I go to Mexico. I go to it's like it's going home but being respectful.
I think especially us that we're being first generation American, we tend to like romanticize just because we even though we're from here and we grew up most of our life here, and then we visit
We're
over there.
Americanized.
Yeah, we're Americanized. Like there's something beautiful when you go over there to your own town or to your own people and just see like it's just a culture shock. It's just so different. I feel like Mexican people are just so like giving and they're so hospitable and they're very like
They're so kind,
family
respectful.
oriented
Yeah.
and they're very much about like if you go to someone's house and they're cooking, if there's enough food for cinco, va a haber enough para 10. So they're Mexican people are they love to share. Like that's one thing I've noticed is they love to share. But one core memory that I have is from my there's a few, but the one memory that I have is once I was older. Because when I was a kid, I would hang out. I would be taking care. The people that would take care of me was like my dad's side of the family, and then when
Hmm.
I when I was a little older, it was my grandfather from my mom's side.
Hmm.
So, and the good thing about my grandfather from my mom's side is that my grandfather was a butcher. So he used to like sell. He was a beef. He would butch cows and stuff, and then he would like sell the meat. So he used to have those big ass trucks, like the carrying
Oh
trucks,
my
and we
god.
used to like travel everywhere. And even though like the back of the truck smelled like manure, I never give a fuck. I never care because there was a big ass llanta that will block the espejo from the front. So I used to sit my ass on the llanta. I'll be on, because in Mexico is not as when it comes to like riding without seatbelt is not a
It's not a lot of regulation.
exactly. So imagine my 11-year-old self sit down in a llanta que está that is wrapped around rope so it will be steady blocking the glass window from the top to the back. So I will sit down and I will sit and they will drive and I will see the whole entire scenery. So I was able to see the whole entire scenery, and the crazy part is that these mosquitoes will be like flying everywhere, and they will be hitting my
Yeah.
fucking face
Oh, I
because we're
remember them.
driving. But like,
I remember them.
that's just a beautiful thing because you're like, you're a kid and you're spending time with your family. When
You don't even realize you're creating a core memory until you're older.
Yeah, my grandfather, he used to take us everywhere.
You just reminded me of a core memory, something that is crazy. I think anybody who has roots in a different country, something you awakened, you reminded me of because you said your grandfather was a butcher. Um, there was a family party, and my family owned animals, pigs, cows, or whatever, and there, one of them had pigs, and he killed one of the pigs, and we ate the pig later that night. And I remember that morning, my uncle told my father, he was like, "Oh, bring the boys. Let's let them see what everything that we're gonna be doing for the family party later." And I don't know why we never made it, but we didn't make it to him killing him, the animal. But I think we were like outside because I remember the scream of the pig.
Oh, they sound horrible when they get killed. When they get butchered,
Yeah,
they sound
and
horrible.
the way my father explained is that my uncle like stabbed it through the neck.
Yeah, that's what they
So
do.
thank you for waking that up for me.
Oh Jesus. So for me, I don't know if it happened to you, but it happened to me when like my grandfather would like because he used to go buy the cattle and then bring it home and like
Mm-hmm.
actually like like you said, stab it on the neck, let it bleed out. He did it as humane as possible, right? But I remember because he was a butcher, he had to clean and the knife and tasajear la carne and all that and like make cecina and all that stuff and limpiar las tripas. So for a long time, I couldn't eat tacos de tripa or tacos de panza because of the smell of like the manure
It
that was
reminded
still in
you.
the yeah, it reminded me. So I couldn't do it. So like recently, and I feel like that's one thing that I
I never got into those tacos.
oh,
But
they taste so
you
good,
you
bro.
saying
We
that,
found
smelling
out.
certain things that bring you back, that's how I feel about certain alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
When I smell like just about everything: whiskey, tequila, rum. I can't do it. Even thinking about it makes me slightly nauseous.
Did you ever try aguardiente?
I don't know.
So
That
I,
sounds familiar. I don't know
yeah.
if I've ever tried that.
It's like the moonshine version of Mexico. So aguardiente, like I remember the last time I went to Mexico, I was like probably like 14 years old and like 13, 14, and I was a chambelán for a quinceañera, you know.
Who? Oh God! How many of you were chambelanes? I was a chambelan 4 times. That was fun. That was
Did you
fun.
carry the girl?
I think so. I don't remember.
You were able to carry the girl?
Entre todos, obviously.
No, because you short girl, so you know.
Oh,
Um,
anyway.
so I was a chambelán for this quinceañera. And they actually flew me. We went to Mexico and we were there the whole entire. I was there the whole entire summer for 2 months.
Oh my God.
Because we had to,
I don't know how, because there are people in my family who do that, like cousins our age, and they'll go to Mexico for like a month or 2 months. I'm like, I could never be out in Mexico for that. I am too Americanized. I'm the white girl in me with different. Oh my God, no, 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 no. That would definitely be me. I could not be living. No, I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I can't.
the thing is that my
Definitely call
grandfather.
me too Americanized.
The thing is that about my grandfather. Every time he knew I was coming over, like my mom's dad, he used to like plan out like stuff every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks we like he would take me to Oaxaca. He would take me to the hacienda de Emilio Zapata. He would take me to El Borbollón, San Carlos, El
Nice.
Rollo.
Yeah.
So he would take me out every like at least every 2 weeks, but I had to go to work with him. So basically, I had to help him like sell the meat. I will have to help him like clean the tripas. I will have to help him, and I
So you were living
would.
like a local.
I
Like when
was.
you
I
were
was
living
literally living
there.
like. I think that's why I didn't mind going for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the last time and the only time that I went for 2 months.
That's
Um,
nice.
but I remember going back to the quinceañera. I remember that was the first time I tried alcohol, and I tried aguardiente, which
And
is
of
basically
course, the first time you
moonshine.
tried alcohol in your teens would be in Mexico. Speaking of, the first time I shot a gun was in Mexico.
Bitch, me too.
My grandfather.
Iba a
My
casar?
family, oh God, you're opening up more core memories. But like my father's side of the family, a lot of them had tons of guns. Really, really thinking about it. And now I'm like, damn, where the fuck they had a ton of them. Like, and then I do remember like us going out somewhere like on some like hill where we were overseeing some shit, and they brought the guns out, and we were just shooting the shit, and my uncle and my grandfather like were holding my hand while I did it. Like I remember
Because
that.
of the pullback.
And they were telling me make sure you do that, or like make sure you hold it. Oh my God, what the fuck? I remember having something here. Oh my God.
I feel like that's a rite of passage when you go to Mexico.
Oh hell yeah.
It's like
Yeah, hell yeah.
is like either drinking alcohol,
Shooting
a
a
gun,
gun.
or hacer un desmadre y medio.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
I do miss Mexico. I have not been back, but I'm
We have
planning
to
to go
go.
there soon.
We have to go. We have to either go to Puerto Vallarta or Mexico City. So one of the last few times I went to Mexico was Mexico City, and I had really such a good time. I went to Los Pirámides, Teotihuacan. I went there.
Did
I went
you
to La
clap?
No. I went to I know. I went to La Basilica de la Guadalupe.
Oh yeah.
Those two were my favorite two spots.
I have not
My
been there.
favorite two spots, the Basilica de Guadalupe and the Pyramids de Teotihuacan. And so when I went, it was a family trip or whatever, and then it just so happened that where my family got the hotel was the neighborhood. We were in Zona Rosa, so literally where my hotel room was, around the block were all the gay bars. So my family will make jokes like you were the one scared to go to Mexico, but you were literally out drinking in the gay bars every night we were there. I'm like, yeah.
They knew you were a queen.
Yeah.
They knew you were a queen.
But yeah, I was in Zona Rosa and the gay bars were
What were you drinking at the gay bars?
I was drinking beer because in Mexico, and they do this in California, like they put the I don't know what it's called, but it's a
Chamoy,
like chamoy y tajín
tajín
in around the brim of the
with
cup,
the
and then the beer y
michelada.
así lo tomas. They
Yeah,
do that
oh
in
my
California. They do that in
god, that's
Mexico.
the
So I did that.
best. That's
I
the
did that. So
fucking
I remember being out
best.
there drinking and my mouth burning, but I was having the time of my life. I really was.
Not that it didn't give you acid reflux, because
I
that's
don't remember it being giving me that. No.
because the chamoy in Mexico is a lot more
What's the fucking thing I also like? The
michelada.
michelada. Who drinks micheladas? I love micheladas. We gotta go out so I can get micheladas.
I
Thank
think I
you.
think like the best drink in Mexico is the jarritos, which is basically uh um a container made out of like adobe, and then it's rimmed with like salt and like tajin, and then they have squirt or sprite in it, and they have like tequila and all that and a bunch of fucking limes,
Oh
and
my
it's
god.
it will fuck you up. But
Alrighty. So,
anyways,
um, give us a few facts of your family's hometown.
so my like I said before, my parents are from Puebla, the
Mm-hmm.
state of Puebla. They're from a small town called Atencingo, which is located in el municipio de Chietla.
Ooh.
We're one of the towns that have a sugarcane factory, because it's all like all the town is agriculture with like sugarcane and like all these like avocados and like
Mm-hmm.
fruits and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the ingenio produces sugarcane, raw sugar, syrup, stuff like that, and we are the third one in this side of the world to produce sugar for like the United States, as well as Central America and South America, including Brazil. Um,
Nice.
so yeah. What else? What else? I have. Yeah, I mean, it's not as dry as other properties in Mexico. We do have certain parts that are just dry. Um I do miss going to that small little town
Mm.
and
Mm.
running wild.
Yeah. So for me, okay, who is it? For me, Oaxaca is the home of mezcal. Oaxaca is the birthplace of corn and squash. Oaxaca contains 18 indigenous groups who kept their languages: Zapotec, Mixteco, and there was one more. I didn't write it down. I forgot. Um, Two of Mexico's most famous presidents are from Oaxaca. One of them being Benito Juarez, who was Zapotec, and the name Oaxaca itself is Nahuatl. Is that how you say it? Nahuatl? Yeah, Nahuatl. And so the ruins, like the temples and other like smaller pyramids from Oaxaca, were actually not destroyed by the Spaniards in Oaxaca. So those ruins are still there, mostly intact.
I do
And
want to visit Oaxaca though. I've heard so many. You guys have like amazing moles.
oh yeah, the home of
Oh
moles,
yeah,
lots of moles.
yeah.
Oh, and Oaxaca is actually the most ethnically ethnically and linguistically diverse state in Mexico, and it's not even the largest state in Mexico.
Yeah.
It has 18 different groups of indigenous groups again, and most of them kept their languages. My family did not get to keep their languages, but I did my own research, and my family is from like Zapotec. You know what I mean? Like the actual like Zapotec people. Another like little fact. So keep in mind, Aztec was a European word. It's not an actual word.
Mexica.
It's Mexica. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mexica is the word, and I love that word. That
Yeah.
word, I definitely identify with that word more than Aztec.
Yeah. I think that's one of the beauties of Oaxaca is that it is not just like the food. It's literally is like they have so much culture. They have so many dialects, and it's just It's amazing, and
Yeah.
I think that's one of the destinations that I really want to visit once I go
Yeah.
to Mexico too.
Oaxaca is a huge touristy spot. Oaxaca's a
Mhm.
huge touristy spot because again, it's a state where my family's from. It's just one of the towns, but a lot of the other towns around it are huge touristy spots.
They have so much art too, like so much like
The handcraft stuff.
handcrafted stuff.
That's where
It's beautiful.
a
Yeah.
lot of the handcraft stuff that comes out of Mexico comes from Oaxaca.
Yeah. No, yeah. Um, yeah. So, would you like to go back and now that you're older to your town? Because I know you said that you've been to like Puerto Vallarta and you've been to like Mexico City, but like, do you want to go back to like your town now that you're older?
Yes and no. Yes and
Come
no.
on, you gotta represent. You gotta like
I
see
want to go to
what.
Mexico, but if going all the way over there is a different mission. That's a mission to go
Yeah,
all the way over there. I
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
about that.
But I mean, you know that like Puebla already has their own airport, so it's gonna be a
I
lot
didn't know that.
closer. Yeah, like there's airports now closer to Oaxaca. Now I'm pretty
But
sure
direct connections, I don't think
no
so.
direct connections to Oaxaca, but
No, I mean from Puebla to like from like the United States.
yeah, they are.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So now it's it'll be cutting out less time to go to Oaxaca because you said it's 6 hours, so it probably turned into like a 3 hour drive. So I think it's beautiful. I want to go back to Atencingo just because I want to see the family that we still have there, but like I don't. At the same time, I don't because like my grandpa is not there no more. Both of my grandparents are not there no more. They both passed away. One passed away in 2012, and my dad's mom passed away like 3 years ago. So it's the only reason I would go to Mexico was because of them. Um,
I think that's why it's a yes and no for me because my
yeah,
grandparents are not there no more,
I do want to
and
visit their
I
grave
don't.
though.
Yeah,
That's one thing,
yeah,
you know. Yeah. Um,
but yeah.
um
Hola, ¿cómo estás? No
bien,
quise
bien,
But
bien.
that's
interrumpir porque estaban hablando.
todavía estamos hablando. My father's interrupting our video.
¿Oh, sí?
Yeah.
No, no,
So
no, no.
anyway, either way, we're done. Either way, this was the end of it
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
I was happy to share my roots where my father is from, Zapoticlan Lagunas. I'm sure it made Nelly happy to share about where his family is from. Say it again.
Atencingo, Puebla.
Atencingo, Puebla.
Yeah.
Say mine.
Zapoticlan,
Zapoticlan Lagunas.
Lagunas,
Oaxaca.
Oaxaca.
Yeah. It definitely makes us happy to share. We wanted you guys to get to know us a little bit more, and yeah, to talk about the culture shock of what it means to be an American-born Mexican.
Yeah.
Because it's, especially now in the Trump era,
And it's harder for like us Mexican American to like it's crazy how he's making it harder for us to actually go visit our homeland. Or because what he's doing, it's harder now because you know it's crazy now that we have to apply to a visa to go to Mexico.
yeah.
And back in the day, it was Mexicans had to apply for a visa to come to the United States. It's just
Yeah.
like it's never a win. It's crazy.
It's kind of a petty game between Claudia and Trump right now. But
Yeah, but I mean, it has to. I think she's doing such a good job, like making sure that you know
that he's
Mexico
not
has to.
yeah, that he's
Yeah.
not stepping all over her.
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
he's not just gonna get his way because that's life is not about that. But
No.
unfortunately, people who look like him think they can always get their way. But again, as I said earlier, no one is illegal on stolen lands. And even though those people don't necessarily have to take any accountability, but acknowledge it. Acknowledge that this is stolen land. So don't try to take that away from us. Don't try to now remove us and whitewash the country like. But anyway, that's a different conversation for a different time.
Thank you so much. And remember, like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, unlike.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, show some love to the missing component. We're gonna be making more videos still. We're gonna keep having fun. again, if you guys want to join us on an episode, let one of us know. Write a comment, and yeah, we're definitely gonna be having guests soon. So y'all keep a lookout to that.
Yeah. So we could speak a little bit about
Other things
you know,
with different people's opinions.
Exactly. We want to hear about other people's opinions and other people's growth and goals in life, and
Yeah,
you know.
and that's it. That's what we got. Thank you for joining us. Till next time.